Our guest today on the bridge is Joy Oladokun, who's playing tonight at the Truman and has an amazing new album out, Observations from a Crowded Room. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I know what you do is just sort of all-consuming, but in those like little moments that you get, surely you're able to see that, man, with each release and each tour, you're just climbing, right? Success can be exhausting though, right?
Yeah, I honestly, maybe it's just because my parents are Nigerian, but I sometimes have blinders on when it comes to how far I've come.
Yeah.
And I think that the beauty of this tour so far has been that I feel like in each city I'm playing songs that sort of span the whole of my career, and I feel like every night I have a moment where either someone's like making a request for a song that I didn't even know people knew, you know,
Right.
or I'm playing something that I love, you know, that I wrote years ago and that people are singing along to, and there's sort of a gratification in that because so much of my music revolves around feeling alone. And so to be able to spend the past few weeks, you know, watching people mirror my feelings back to me and sort of say, I see myself in this in whatever way has been really beautiful.
So it's like the community you didn't know you had.
Yeah.
But it is exhausting, right?
Yes.
And so after the last album, you'd had a couple of big tours and faced all the demands. I mean, and let's be honest, things like this, we so appreciate you being here today. But you were exhausted and you were actually thinking about getting out of the business.
Yes.
And the last thing that you were thinking about was writing the next album. And then you saw a moose.
I saw a moose. Yeah, well, the interesting thing about the music business is even though the last thing that I'm thinking about is making the next album, that maybe is not the last thing that the people that I now come with are thinking about. I found myself sort of, not at an impasse with my label, but listen, you know what type of music I make, don't take offense to this. They wanted me to work with like white guys who make music, which is like fine. You know, my favorite genre of video is white guys playing guitar. So it's not, it's not personal. I just, I felt like my experience, what I was going through at this moment in time, in this world and in this country, as a Black queer person, it should not be filtered. Are you high? That's not, don't clap for me. That is just baseline, the obvious truth. Like genuinely, like we are at a time where, you know, books that are supposed to inspire love and change and healing are used to create some weird fascist law crushing the lives and hopes of people that don't fit a certain mold. We should not be trying to hear the same type of story from the same type of person over and over again. And I was pissed, but I feel like I was relatively cool about the fact that I was like, hey, I just don't want to make my next album this way. So if you want me to make an album, I'm going to make it alone at my house. Because I haven't been at my house because I've been touring, making everybody happy so they can fly, you know, everywhere across the country and high five and be like, Joy knows Chris Stapleton now. Isn't that cool that I know that? Like, who gives a shit? Anyway, sorry. I just really genuinely, I think I became a songwriter and a musician because it seems so silly, but I wanted to be a songwriter that goes into the studio and helps artists navigate life because so many of my favorite artists are dead. Like, Kurt Cobain has a grandkid, you know, that he doesn't know because the weight of all the shit that we do, sorry again, all the stuff that we do, it gets so heavy that people don't survive. Like an actress died today. And I think that for me, making music and being in community in the music world has been about how can I help people navigate how hard life is, just in general. And I also had to advocate for myself in that way by making this record, because I was like, I feel like I'm about to be lost to time. I was drinking a lot. This is gonna shock my team, but I was angrier than I am now. I was going through so much and feeling the weight of it. And I was like, if this continues the way that it is, I won't be here next year to see any of my success. And to advocate for myself to make this record wasn't about like, wasn't about embarrassing my label CEO's kids by having to take a cheaper car to private school. It was about me being, how do I navigate this? How do I survive this? And if it means that I have to leave and that the albums that I made are the albums that I made and that's the legacy, then I'm willing to do that. And I think that was the beauty of making the record the way that I did. And yeah, just I think it allowed me the rest that I needed to get on the road again. Like everybody wants you to make an album tour. When am I supposed to see my family, you know?
So you were worn out, you weren't feeling like writing,
Yeah.
and you're sitting by a lake in Oregon, and then you saw a moose.
What a moose. Yeah, I was on mushrooms in Oregon, and they let you do anything out there. And I was at a lake. It was, I was on tour. I was on tour with someone, and it was really hard, and I don't feel like I was being treated well. And I was thinking about the song Blackbird by the Beatles. Again, white dudes playing guitar, favorite genre. Anyway, Paul McCartney wrote that song to Black women in the civil rights movement. And for me, somehow seeing this moose on my mushroom trip in Oregon, I was like, I should write a response. What a joke. I should respond like as someone who I live in the future that the people who came before me imagined. And in some ways, it is everything they imagined, and in some ways, it's not. And it's my job to continue to fight for that dream. And so I wrote "Letter from a Blackbird," which is the opening track, and the birds that you hear are from where I saw the moose. I wrote it saying like, "Hey, people think that I make art to fuel their dreams. People think I get out of bed. People think I wake up in my one short life. People think I wake up to make their dreams come true, and it makes me sick, like genuinely. Like, because I have a family, I have dreams, I have passions, I have things that I care about. I save money to help my mom retire. Like, I'm not here, I didn't write "If You Got a Problem" so people could clap at me in Kansas City, although I'm looking forward to it. I wrote it because it was changing my life in a way that I could take care of communities that I care about. Like, I got to raise money for flood communities. I've gotten to raise money for LGBTQ youth. Like, I've gotten to do incredible things. And so I wrote "Letter from a Blackbird" saying that I think people think that I just do this to make them happy, but I do it to heal myself and to heal the world that I live in while I still live in it. And that's how Observations from a Crowded Room was born. Thanks for mushrooms.
So, we've talked about, you not wanting to write, not being, but you're actually prolific. How much do you write?
Please don't tell anybody. I write every day.
Yeah.
And it's like journaling. But apparently I get paid to journal now. I write every day, and all my heroes, like back in like Nina Simone, Jimi Hendrix, Motown, like they were obsessed with creation and putting art out into the world. And the question I ask myself every day is like, what would the people that I look up to do if they had the tools that I have? And so that's why I try to write as much as I can, just because the feelings are there, like the inspiration is there, and the time is there.
And you have a publishing deal, and some of the songs that you're writing are for pop artists.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with pop?
I love pop music. Are you kidding me? Carly Rae Jepsen, thank you. Thank you for existing. You will always be famous. I love a good song. You know, and that's what pop music is. It's like, it's a song that becomes undeniable to a big amount of the population. And so, yeah, writing music for other people, that was the goal. The artist thing is sort of this nice surprise that life has thrown me that I'm learning how to navigate. But writing music for other people has been a real gift, because it doesn't feel as heavy. Like, you go into the studio and you just sort of help someone, whatever they want to imagine, whatever they want to put in the world, you just help them do it. And I think that that's a really beautiful thing.
There's a recurring phrase that you use about your songwriting for others, and I'd love for you to elaborate on vitamin in the Twinkie.
Oh, yeah. Well, because... This is going to go down a path, and I'm really sorry. Okay.
I'm worried about your time, not mine. I'm here.
I'm having
really,
a great time.
I'm
This
enjoying
is fun.
this. I got all day.
It's fine. I'm fine. We're fine. I grew up religious. I grew up Christian. My family is Christian. You know, we went to church a lot until the pastor said some really racist stuff from the pulpit, and then we just prayed at home. When I was a kid, the song Like a Prayer by Madonna, '25 out of 10, perfect pop song. It's beautiful, it's inspiring, there's a choir at the end. Like, it's incredible. I didn't know it was about jobs until I was 20s, like in my 20s. And so I just, like, as a kid, I'm hearing Like a Prayer, and I'm like, that's what it feels like to need God. Like, as an idiot. As a young fool, I was like, oh, Madonna gets faith. Oh, help me. I think pop music, it has this ability, like, especially when you don't know anything, when you don't know what inspired it, like, it has this ability to take on any meaning to the person who listens to it. That's my favorite part about my job, is the release I get to have of this song doesn't belong to me anymore. Like, it means something to different people across the world. And I think putting the vitamin in the Twinkie is essentially, I think it's just me wanting to uphold the standard that pop music has always held in my life by being like, it doesn't have to be meaningless to be popular. Like, it can mean something. It can, even if it's just emotionally, you can just believe in it and care.
Our guest today on the Bridge is Joy Oladokun, who's playing tonight at the Truman, and a really great album, Observations from a Crowded Room, just released a few months ago. You know, your parents are Nigerian immigrants, a nurse and a pharmacist, and you know, it's such an interesting life, I guess. So, like, I'm having a hard time imagining what it was like. But one thing that is common to a lot of the stories for artists that come through is that your dad had a good record collection.
True.
He would let you watch videos, and it was really like, you don't know when that turning point is going to come, but you got to see a video of Tracy Chapman performing. And that was a real turning point for you.
Yeah, the rules were, because my parents work in medicine, we weren't allowed to watch TV Monday through Friday because we were supposed to be becoming doctors. And on the weekend, we could either watch a movie or we could watch the many hours of concert and music video footage that my dad had accumulated over his years. And as people who were good at math, we were like, lots of concerts is more than one movie. So we would just like sit in the TV room and like watch all these concerts with my dad. Like I remember watching the Paul Simon Graceland concert, and you know, just like just impactful shows. Like there's like this Stevie Wonder clip post a German show that my dad found that he would show me, and I saw Tracy Chapman singing at Wembley, and it was the first time I saw someone who looked like me playing the guitar. I was 10 years old, and that moment is why you all have to deal with me now. And so I think I think that it sort of just speaks to the power of like someone being themselves at the highest level that they can and what it can do for other people.
That performance from Tracy Chapman was in honor of Nelson Mandela's 70th birthday. You recently got to tour his home. What was that like?
It was so cool. I don't know if this will be my impact, but I think that there's something about the life of leaders like Nelson Mandela where they balance living and loving and being human with sacrificing anything that they can to make the world a better place. And so to just be in his home, which is in Soweto, like it's not what you imagine Cape Town or like, you know, South Africa to be. It's not, there's not like wineries and cute stuff. It's South Africa. And you just sort of like, I found it really moving. I saw letters, I saw trinkets and all this different stuff. And like that sort of like little museums and stuff like that, I got really obsessed with the things people had on them after they died. I'm so sorry. For a period. And that's how I came up with the concept of proof of life. And so being in Nelson Mandela's home was special to me because I feel like I got to be where someone lived life. Like it's not like a museum. It's not like a center. Like it's literally his house and his things. And it's just really impactful because I think even our favorite thinkers and people and musicians are just people, you know?
Our guest today on the Bridge, Joy Oladokun, playing tonight at the Truman, new album out, Observations from a Crowded Room. And I wanted to talk about that record. It was like self-produced. So, you know, what does that mean? How solitary was this? Was it you in a room?
Yes.
Was that welcome after all those people for all those months?
Yes. I'm actually an introvert. I don't let the streets tell you anything else. I like to spend time alone. I feel like I find wisdom and energy when I'm by myself. And yeah, it was really solitary. I rented a studio like 5 minutes away from my house in Nashville for 3 months. And I wrote, again, I went into the studio and I wrote every day. And then towards the end of that time, I went to Electric Lady in New York to work on some stuff. And that was with an engineer. And the engineer essentially, aside from like songs that were the few songs that were written with other collaborators, the engineer is sort of the only person that touched every track on the record besides myself, which felt like a really empowering and like educational thing. I think that sometimes the production of music, I think because it pays well, people can be cagey about how to do it. And so for me to push myself and to come into the studio in the morning and watch 2 hours of production videos and then produce a song from scratch, like it was really inspiring and good for my soul after so much time being with people to just focus on being alone. And most days, the only other person I would talk to is John, my engineer, or like, I'm the slowest texter ever. I would sometimes text my management team back. But I spent a lot of time just really alone and feeling my feelings and centering how do I tell the truest version of my experience of the past few years.
It's a gorgeous record, and I thought a lot about this. It's like, there's all this joy and beauty and collaboration, but you said that the previous records were about democracy and that this record was about a dictatorship. And, I guess that one of the things that kind of gets lost in collaboration is that, if you're collaborating, yes, you're getting other people's ideas, but they might be stepping into the territory of maybe, mucking around with your artistic vision for what it is you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to change the way I view and use collaboration as an artist. I think co-writing is great. I actually think it's powerful. One of my favorite songs on the record is a co-write. It's a song called Good Enough that I wrote with some people in Nashville. And I think that it's important to put yourself with other people and teach yourself, or to learn, to grow, and to stretch yourself and your ability to storytell and to think about what notes go where or whatever. Anyway, but I also think that the retreat from collaboration, or allowing that time that you spent working with others to sort of inform and teach what you do by yourself, is actually really impactful, at least for me as an artist. I feel like I've talked to people or songwriters who say I don't feel like I can write alone anymore. And I never want to have that problem, and I don't have that problem. And I think it's because even when I'm writing with other people, in my brain, I'm like, how can I carry this? How can I carry what this person is showing me of themselves and how to be creative with me forward in the future? And I think I think that I'm trying to expand collaboration to being how just the lessons people teach you and the energy that they bring, or even sending a song to a producer friend that didn't work on the song and just asking them what do you think of this, sort of trusting myself enough to take my vision further than I would have in the past.
It must be nice to have your vision be understood and respected and identified. You got asked to play at the White House for the Respect for Marriage Act signing ceremony. That had to be a shock.
Yeah.
What was it like?
It was great. I'm filtering. I'm not even filtering anything about politics. I just feel like I shouldn't say where I did or didn't smoke weed that day. Yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, again, my parents aren't from this country, so to a generation later, be able to sing on the lawn of the White House for that specific reason, I think that was important to me. I have strong opinions about politics that I try to keep to myself a lot because people on the internet are mean. And so there are a lot of reasons I would have said no to singing at the White House, but for the care and wisdom that it takes to codify that love is love in a time where people are hyper-focused on who you should love or how you should express yourself, I think was wise. And so I went and I sang, and it was amazing, and I got to hug Cyndi Lauper. So...
You've mentioned your parents a couple of times, and one of the first times is when you were talking about them wanting you to be a doctor. Do they understand your career? Are they still holding out hope that maybe you'll go back to school to...
No, thank God. They just want me to be happy. My parents, I call them the homies as a joke. I love my parents. They're my favorite people. Yeah, they they just didn't know that you could make money being a musician. And I think once I could prove to my mom that I wasn't eating a single sandwich a day, I think she was like, oh, okay. And my dad was stoked because he likes songs. So he was like, cool. And I think now, like my mom came to surprise me at the Charlotte show because I needed advice. I think now they just, it's just something that they celebrate. Like I opened for Hozier in Sydney, and they came to Sydney, and they've never been to Australia, and it's something they've always wanted to do. And as their kid, being able to take my parents to Sydney for the first time was an incredible experience. And yeah, they're just supportive, and I think they are two people driven by faith and the hope that or the belief that you can live your life to the fullest. Like that's what made them leave their home to try something new. And that's the way I see them live and lead. And so, yeah, I think that once they saw me doing that and able to provide for myself, they're like, she's gonna be okay.
You know,
Just okay.
we're getting close to the end, but I did want to circle back to one last little thing that you sort of alluded to earlier when you talked about how stardom has a way of, fame almost at any level has a way of eating people up. And there are a lot of people that aren't with us anymore because of fame. And, you know, in your particular case, you know, we love you, we love your music. We maybe haven't even met you, but we think we know you, and you're called upon to represent different parts of yourself all of the time. But that doesn't represent the whole you. And part of that is, like, please don't like me too much.
Thank you for saying it. I try to communicate it as best I can. I love you, don't think about me, is my whole vibe. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want that.
So the you know, so we'll try. You know, we're still going to play your music. We're still going to enjoy. We'll try to not like you too much. But you really need to talk to Jim James of My Morning Jacket, because he's out there comparing you to John Prine and Bill Withers, and that might be a little bit too much weight.
I love Jim James so much. My Morning Jacket was one of the first bigger bands that I went on tour with. And I am now like an avid walker because I saw Jim James go on walks every day. And I was like, that must work. And two, I feel like they were one of the first bands, like from sustainability to just the kindness with which they treated me. I think it taught me a lot about being able to do this job as the best version of yourself and not becoming some unrecognizable creature. It is very nice that he said that, because John Prine and Bill Withers are two of my favorite artists. I listen to the Live at Carnegie Hall album by Bill Withers like once a week. It is, yeah.
Our guest today, Joy Oladokun, who's playing tonight at the Truman. Do yourself a favor. Also do yourself a favor and pick up Observations from a Crowded Room. If you don't have it already, I'm sure they'll have it at the merch table tonight. It's an amazing piece of work. Joy, I've mentioned this before we even went on mic. These things are a gift to us, and we so appreciate it. We can't tell you how much. And so we'll try to reciprocate by loving you a lot, but only to a certain level, only in the right ways. We'll try to respect boundaries. I'll try not to follow your tour bus as you're leaving town.
I might have to send this to my therapist. I feel like you're touching on something here I must process. But yeah, don't love me too much. But I feel like it's important for me to say that thank you for platforming me and my music, and for just like taking the time. Like not everybody does, and it's as much a gift to me as you say it is to you to spend time with people all across the world and like just chat and learn and grow.
So as an act of respect and controlled fandom, would it be all right if we applaud for you now?
I'll allow it.
Joy Oladokun.
Now available on 90.9 The Bridge YouTube.